This video is brought to you by the FARMER-KLEIN YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Poppy Plains. This map can be found over the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game mod hub, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. But before we get into the map, this video is sponsored by Farmers Forever. Thank you for being a farm baron. So let's read a little bit of the description. It says, Poppy Plains is a fictional map inspired by a region of France located in the heart of Picardy in the Somme. We'll just go with that. This map includes a cow farm, 2 points of sale, a breeding farm with chickens and pigs. We have a sleep trigger, as well as resetting vehicles to the main farm. So let's just go ahead and jump on in. We'll go ahead and activate the mods we typically use when we take a look at these. And that should just about do it. Go ahead and pull up the log. We'll watch the map load up pretty quick. I say that, and then we have a delay. There we go. Whoa! What am I? Am I standing in the middle of a cornfield? Okay. Well, there we go. All right. So here we are in Poppy Plains. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. We'll zoom on out. We see that this is pretty much a standard size map with a fair bit of the outside is set up as forest. If we take a look at the lands, you'll see that we start out owning all of the exterior of the map, but it also includes the chicken and pig farm and the cow farm. So what I learned from kind of looking at the map earlier is if we sell this, we can sell this for $9.5 million. That is a very, very fast way to get a ton of cash right away. And what's interesting is we don't have to own the cows or the chickens or the pig farm in order to use it. So in farm manager mode, you start owning no land. But that's okay because we can still buy cows, pigs, and chickens. So you don't have to own the farm to be able to use the animal areas. So you could still start this map on farm manager or start from scratch. You don't have to buy the $9.5 million plot of land in order to get these farms, but it does kind of mean that in theory, you could start with a whole heap load of cash if you sold this area at the start. But there is a little caveat, is this area does include the biogas plant. So if you ever want to use the biogas plant, you're going to have to reinvest $9.5 million to buy that land back. Now, as far as other land that you own at the start, you own field 21, 28, 47, and 39. Another interesting thing that I just saw is field 6 is basically a part of all of this outside area, 520 acres of other land. Very, very interesting. So even though this map is called Poppy Plains, this map only includes the standard crops available to us here on Farm Sim 19. Let's go ahead and get set up for taking a look at the custom soil map. So as we can see from uncovering the soil map, we've got fairly decent pockets of silty clay up here in fields 6, 4, 3, 22, and then across here, the north middle of the map, down here fields 12 and 13. And then we've got a big swath of silty clay down here by our main farm. We've got pockets of sandy loam and loamy sand. And then that is all surrounded by the good old loam soil. That is probably the ideal soil for this particular map. Now we have 2 sell points, which for the life of me, I do not understand. Why on earth are they sharing the exact same name? So we have Unil and Unil 2. Why they're not numbered, I don't know. But at any rate, the first Unil is over here just north of field 30. Okay. The second Unil is over here by field 26. So the first Unil is to the west. Second Unil is to the east. I do not know why Giants would dare allow a map to come out with 2 cell points all named the same thing. I mean, it's just going to cause confusion as far as I'm concerned. Now, we do have a cell point for our eggs and milk. We also have cell point for cotton and wool, which is good to see. We do own the biogas plant at the very start. And then if we should sell the biogas plant and all of that surrounding ground, we can still sell our silage and hay and straw here at this commerce sell point. And if we fire the map up with straw harvest, we do have an area to sell our pellets. Now we start with a fairly modest list of starting equipment. None of it is leased. While we do have cows, chickens, and pig animal areas, we do not have any animals at the start, and we do have contracts available. Let's go ahead and take a look at that starting equipment. We start out with the Puma 185 CVX, 225 horsepower. Pretty decent sized tractor to be our only tractor. We've got the New Holland TX32 harvester that is paired up with the TX32 header. Maybe a little bit small for the size of these fields, but you know, to each their own. We have the AgriLiner TKD 302 trailer, Horsch Tiger 6DT cultivator, and then we close it out with the Spirit R300S seeder. So there are no placeables that you can sell, but there is a buyable cow pasture that I would say don't use because you can't sell it. So if you put it down and you don't like where you placed it, you can't sell it. But another reason not to buy it is because it floats. It's way up in the air. I bought a few of these by accident when I was doing my first look at this video before I recorded it. And I thought I was going to place it on the map right here on field 47, which I owned. But instead, they appeared way down here at field 51. And, well, they were up in the sky. So do not buy this cow animal pasture. You can't sell it once you put it down and it floats. It's of no use to you. Why it's even listed here, I do not know. And that pretty much is the only modded thing that is associated with the map, as you can see here. Now, the description did say that we start with the sleep trigger. So the sleep trigger is burnt into the map. It is over here at our farmhouse. We pull up the F1 or the F1 menu. Come down the hill here. You'll see here we have our sleep trigger. So we cannot go inside the house. It would be really cool if this was a garage we could open up, but no. No siree, Bob. It is what it is. And let's go ahead and go across the street and take a look at the starting farm here. So as soon as we come in, we have 2 silage bunkers here on the right. So there we have chaff trigger for that one, which seems to extend a fair bit out from the wall. And then we have the bunker for this one. We have all of our starting equipment over here under this shed. And then we have our cow pen over here. Now, something I forgot to look at earlier, I do need to see. There is a trigger over here. And I forgot to look earlier as to if this is fuel or maybe this is something else, like liquid fertilizer. So, shoot. All right. Let me jump out and I'll be right back. So let's go ahead and empty this tractor of fuel. And see, can I refuel it? Okay, so this trigger is probably liquid fertilizer. Since I can't put fuel in the tractor. Got a nice shed here for bale storage. I do believe I forgot to mention when the map was loading up. This map does include a custom soil map, as we have already seen. And it does not include a custom seasons mask. So that doesn't mean you can't play this map with seasons. It simply means that the straw and hay you leave out on the fields will not rot. So technically you don't need to put bales under roof, but if you want to, that's a pretty decent bale barn, if you ask me. So here we have our delivery point for our cows, 200 cows in this particular pen. We've got our slurry point and our water trough, and we activate the animal pen extension mod so that it will help us locate where the water trough is. It will also tell us if there is custom support for the animal pen extension mod and these water pipes. The fact that they are right here just means that we'll be able to get in and move them around as we so choose. There we go. Now we do have our food and straw trigger right here along this steel fence. And then we have our milk trigger. And again, we have the animal pen extension mod, and the Lily milk sales machine is part of that mod, and it helps us locate where the milk trigger is. And also, once we place it, it would allow us to have auto milk sales enabled should we so wish. And that, guys, is pretty much the main starting farm. So let's go ahead and get set up for a fly around. We'll take a look around the map, and then we'll get back to the shop, buy our Mahindra, and, well, do a drive. All right, so from above, we can pretty much see that the map is fairly flat. It's not totally flat. There is some nice roll through the fields. Nothing overly extreme as far as hills go. So that tractor should be more than enough to basically work any of the fields on this map with respect to the hills and whatnot. Now, you do see that we do have some power lines and power towers, if you will, running through the fields. Now, this is kind of interesting, and look for this to probably be fixed in an update. But the towers do not have collisions. Okay, see, we just fly right through the towers. But the problem is the concrete at the base does have a collision. So it kind of negates the lack of collision on these towers when you have a collision at the concrete. So if you do hire a helper to work these fields, they will avoid the concrete, even though the tower itself is collision free. So over here we have O'Neill 1. This is a sell point to the west. And then directly in front of us, we have O'Neill 2, which is the sell point to the east of the farm. And while we're over here, you'll see that there are other power poles running through the fields. These are collision free, so your hired helpers will ignore these. Let's swing back around. Overall, a pretty decent field layout. They should be fairly hired helper friendly because they're, to some degree, shapes of rectangles with a few odd corners, but overall fairly rectangular or square shape. And a lot of these fields appear that they could be easily merged into larger fields, because if there are trees between them, they're very sparse. So here we have our large chicken coop. We have our pig area and then a couple other sheds. We're going to drive over here and check those out here in a little bit. But it would be interesting to see this map include poppy as a additional crop type, given the fact that it is named Poppy Plains. So over here we have our biogas plant. And we'll just go ahead and take a look at that while we're here. So we do have 2 silage pits. Silage pit 1 and 2. Now this pit does, the trigger extends far beyond the wall. So here we are at the wall, and we basically comes out to right there. So just to be aware, when you're compacting your silage, it could come out all the way to here. We have our digestate point right there, and of course our digester. Across the street, we do have our shop trigger, as well as a couple other sell points and buy points. Over here we have a bulk lime silo to buy lime. We have our shop trigger. We have our repair, customize, and trade trigger. Fuel is over here, but we're going to verify that because the fuel trigger looks to be huge. I just want to verify that this is indeed working for fuel. Here we can we can sell our eggs as well as our cotton and wool. And we'll find that here on the sell points, as this is the commerce place, if you will. So you have our cotton or eggs or wool, silage, hay, straw, and our pellets. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at the animal buy point and the milk sell point here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and get our Mahindra. And there we have our spawn point for new vehicles. The map description did say that the reset point was back at the main farm. I'm not really going to test that, but I do want to check this fuel trigger. Put that there. Yep. There we go. Does indeed fill our vehicle with fuel. So that is good to see. All right, we'll swing on over to the cow and chickens at this point. Just kind of taking a look around. I saw these red flowers. Are these... I really don't know what poppies look like. Are these poppies? Maybe that's why the map has the name of Poppy Plains. There's wild poppies growing about. So from this perspective, you can really get a good sense as to the lay of the land and how rolling the field is. Oh man. Changed my wheel settings and now my dead zone is huge. I'm gonna have to keyboard this one. So we've got our, this is going to be our egg spawn point. Around the side, we have our chicken buy point. Right here, 400 chickens. And then we have our food trough. Let's just see. Do we have chickens roaming around, or are they just inside the building? All right, I don't see it. There he is. There he is. He's hidden in the grass. Okay. So we do have chickens roaming around. Then over here we have our pig area. So we have our slurry point. We have our pig buy trigger. 300 pigs in this particular area. We have our food trough and our straw trough inside of here. Sorry, what am I saying? We have our straw trigger right here. The food trough is over here along the side of the fence. And then we have our water trough again with the pipes. And then our manure point is right there. So we have the same two buildings that we had over at the pig farm, over here at the pig, or at the cow farm, over here at the pig and chicken farm. No house over here. And again, this farm and the pig area is all tied together in that $9.5 million bundle of land. Let's head on over here to our first O'Neill sell point. Again, why are these the same name? Giants, you should not allow that. So you can dump in either one of these pull-ins. It's not super tight, but I don't know if you want to be coming in here with a big, distinction type trailer or not. So over here to our right is again the starting cow farm. Take this road over here to the second O'Neill sell point. Now, we did find out that these poles on the side of the fields do have collisions. So, the fields aren't super narrow, but this one kind of is. So, you shouldn't have too many problems with bigger, wider equipment, but it is something maybe to pay attention to. So there we have our second O'Neill sell point, or O'Neill, whatever it's called. And then we'll head on down here to the last two areas of interest. That is the animal dealer and the milk sell point. Again, from this perspective, you can kind of get a little bit of a sense as to the rolling nature of the fields. Not super hilly. But also not flat as a pancake. We haven't seen any AI traffic that I can recall on the map, so there may not be traffic. And here we are. The blue building is going to be our last final destination. So over here on the right is going to be our animal dealer. Right there. And then here to our left, we have the milk sale trigger. All right, guys, that is going to be it. That is Poppy Plains. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this map? Is it something that would interest you? You plan on playing it? What do you think of the idea of owning the biogas plant as well as all of this outside forested area at the start? Of course, you could sell it for $9.5 million. Get yourself a really good start to the map. And until next time, happy farming.